Help me reach 6,000 subscribers. Support the video with a like and leave your thoughts in the comments. I read everyone. Thank you. My name's Ethan, and I used to think every marriage had rough patches, moments you push through together because love still means something. Turns out some people don't want to fix things. They just want to win. It started quietly. My wife Laura had this new friend from work, Samantha. One of those people who spoke in quotes from self-help podcasts and always had advice for everyone else's relationship. At first I didn't care. Everyone needs friends. But then I started noticing little things. Laura would come home distant, cold, distracted. She'd sit on the couch scrolling her phone, nodding when I spoke but never really listening. When I'd ask if something was wrong, she'd sigh like I was exhausting her. "I'm fine," she'd say. "You just always make everything about you." That line didn't sound like Laura. It sounded rehearsed, like she was repeating someone else's diagnosis of me. A week later, I overheard a snippet of her phone call with Samantha. Her voice was sharp, almost smug. He doesn't even realize how easy he is to manipulate. You just have to pull away a little and he starts begging for attention. I froze in the hallway, staring at the wall. My wife laughed softly on the other end of the call. Then she said maybe that's what I need to do. Make him realize I'm not here to cater to his ego. That night she went to bed early, leaving me sitting alone with the sound of the fridge humming in the dark. For days, the tension lingered like smoke after a fire. I tried everything. Cooking dinner, planning a small weekend getaway, even writing her a note like I used to when we first dated. She didn't even glance at it. It was like living with someone who had quietly decided you were the villain in a story you didn't know existed. Then came the night she tested her theory. We were supposed to meet for dinner after work. Something simple, something to reconnect. I waited for an hour at the restaurant, scrolling through my messages. Nothing. When I finally called her, she answered on speaker with music in the background. "Oh, I forgot," she said casually. Samantha and I grabbed drinks. "You can eat without me." I swallowed the bitterness. "We had plans. Well, plans change. You're always so rigid, Ethan." There it was again, that word, rigid. Another echo from her friend's vocabulary. I didn't argue. I paid for the untouched appetizer, went home, and sat in the quiet house. It's strange at how silence can hurt more than shouting. The next morning she came into the kitchen humming, acting like nothing happened. "You're quiet," she said. "Are you mad?" I just looked at her and asked, "Is this what Samantha told you to do? Ignore me until I break?" Her smile faltered for a split second, just long enough to confirm I wasn't wrong. Then she said, "You're paranoid. She just helps me see things clearly. You always twist everything." I almost laughed. Gaslighting and the final step in every toxic playbook. For the next week, I played along. I stopped chasing. I stopped trying to talk. I simply mirrored her indifference. When she scrolled through her phone, I did too. When she slept facing the wall, I stayed silent. When she ignored my messages, I didn't send another. At first, she seemed satisfied, like she'd won. Then confusion crept in. She started picking small fights, trying to provoke me into reacting. I didn't, because by then I had already decided something quietly inside myself. This wasn't a marriage anymore. It was a manipulation experiment. The night she finally broke me, or thought she did, came after one of her rehearsed arguments. She stood there, eyes burning with fake disappointment, and said, "You've changed. Ethan, I don't even recognize you. Maybe Samantha's right. Maybe we're done." I nodded. "Maybe you're right," she blinked, thrown off. "That's it? That's all you're going to say?" I smiled, calm as ever. "You're not the only one who can make plans." When she left the house the next morning, I opened the folder I'd been keeping in my drawer for weeks. Papers drafted by my lawyer. She thought she was playing a game of control. She didn't realize I had already chosen to end it. Laura came home that evening acting victorious. She tossed her purse on the counter, glanced at me, and said, "I think we should take a break. I need space to figure out who I am without you hovering all the time." I could almost hear Samantha feeding her those words. I poured myself a glass of water and said quietly, "You've already figured that out. You just wanted to see how much I'd beg." She folded her arms. "So you're not going to fight for me?" I set the glass down. "No, Laura. I'm not going to fight for someone who enjoys watching me hurt." That's when I handed her the envelope. She looked at it like it was something foreign, something that couldn't possibly belong in her world. "What's this?" Divorce papers, I said. Since you wanted control, I thought you should have all of it. Her hand trembled as she opened the first page. You're serious? Completely. You said you wanted to break me, Laura. You didn't break me. You freed me. For the first time in months, she didn't have a response ready. Her mouth opened, then closed again. Her confidence cracked just a little, like glass under pressure. I walked past her to the door, calm, steady. Ethan, wait, she said. You can't just... But I could. And I did. I spent that night at a cheap motel off the highway, the kind with flickering neon lights and bad coffee in the lobby. But for the first time in a long while, I slept. Deep, dreamless, peaceful sleep. The next morning, my phone lit up with messages from her. A dozen texts switching between anger and guilt. You're really doing this? I didn't mean it like that. Samantha said it was just a way to reset things. Please come home. Let's talk. I stared at those messages, realizing how ironic it was. She'd followed someone else's blueprint to break me, and now that I was finally calm, she was the one unraveling. I didn't reply. Sometimes silence is the loudest answer a man can give. 2 weeks later, she showed up at my office. She looked smaller somehow, tired, eyes swollen, her confidence replaced by confusion. I can't believe you actually filed, she said. I thought you'd realize you were overreacting. I leaned back in my chair. Overreacting would have been yelling or begging or trying to convince you to stay. This is me reacting exactly as you taught me to, emotionless, detached. She flinched. I didn't mean for it to go this far. That's the thing, Laura. When you start treating love like a weapon, you don't get to control the damage. She didn't have anything to say after that. She just stood there for a long moment, staring at the floor, then walked out quietly. A month later, I heard through mutual friends that Samantha's relationship had fallen apart too. Apparently, she'd given her own boyfriend the same withholding affection treatment, and he'd left without a word. Maybe karma keeps better notes than we think. I still drive past that old restaurant sometimes, the one where I waited alone that night. It's funny how memories fade from color to black and white once you stop feeding them emotion. People always ask if I regret it, walking away after years together. No. What I regret is not walking away sooner. The first time I saw her enjoy my confusion instead of my happiness. Love isn't supposed to be a test you pass by suffering quietly. It's supposed to be the place where you find peace after the world exhausts you. I learned something important through that silence. Through that detachment she mistook for weakness. You can't destroy someone who's no longer playing your game. Don't hate Laura. I hope she finds whatever peace she was searching for in manipulation and advice from friends who never built anything lasting themselves. As for me, I rebuilt. Slowly. Quietly. I moved into a small apartment with too much sunlight and no ghosts in the walls. I started running again. Reading. Cooking things I actually like instead of what I thought she'd want. Freedom doesn't arrive with fireworks. It walks in quietly, sets down its bag, and says, "You can breathe now," and that's exactly what I did. Because in the end, she never broke me. She just taught me how strong I was once I stopped trying to prove my worth to someone determined not to see it.